Hello and welcome to episode 128 of the Paro Pod.
Sorry. Excuse me. Hello and welcome.
It's your boys, it's me, Owen, and you,
Mark.
and you, dear listener. And today's episode, we are talking about our recommended film of the fortnight, 1985, Kira Kurosawa, Ran, Shakespearean adaptation set in feudal Japan.
Yeah, very interesting
Is
movie.
it feudal? Yeah, feudal Japan.
Medieval Japan, is it? Well, yeah, it's like based on King Lear,
Yeah,
so
feudal.
Yeah, feudal.
Samurais and shit.
What's the difference between feudal and medieval? The same thing, aren't
Feudal is the system,
they? Yeah,
is the societal structure,
it's basically the same thing.
but medieval is the time period, I believe.
Okay.
Like a feudal system is kings and lords and all that shit, but I think medieval is a specific, like, 1100 to 1500 or something like that.
All right.
Because you got the Dark Ages and all that take place in medieval times.
And Japan had their own thing going on.
Oh yeah, completely separate.
They banned foreigners now.
Oh yeah, they'd what's that thing called? Enclosement.
Yeah, and the Americans were like, they showed up with guns. Were like, open up your fucking country. We're gonna blow you up.
They're like, get fucked. you ain't doing shit.
Yeah. Strange old country, Japan.
Yeah, like Japan's a very interesting history.
It really does. Such
Really
an interesting.
does.
Do you see? It was 50 years. I think it was 50 years since Mishima attempted his. The other day, since he attempted his coup, which is just one of the most incredible moments in all of history, I'd say.
Just an incredible
one of the greatest movies came out of it as well. Like,
easy, yeah.
I just saw it the other day. I was like, wow, what a cinematic moment in history,
Mm.
and what a great cinematic masterpiece came out of it. Yeah, 50 years.
Great writer.
Great writer.
Great movie. Yeah, because I was talking to Liam. We were chilling the other day, and he was like looking at my letterbox, and he was like, "What the fuck is Mishima?" I was like, "Bro, get on
Liam?
that." Yeah, Liam.
Never watched it.
He's never. And I said like, "Oh, it's Paul Schrader," and he said, "Say less." Say less. He knew. He understood. He understood straight away.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
He was like, I was like, "It's a sad man movie made by a sad man." He was like, "Sounds like my shit."
yeah, like Paul Schrader is like the American boomer Mishima. You know, he would have done something like that if he was Japanese and around in the 60s and 70s.
Does America have anything like Mishima? Or like, a figure like Mishima? Outside of like Waco or anything like that. Like Waco's a little bit different.
A figure like someone who just tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah, like has like
Donald Trump.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Donald Trump is
like,
actually, I'd say, the closest.
Yeah,
thing.
probably actually is. I was gonna say outside of the January 6th shit.
Just in terms of how he kind of combined, like Mishima's whole thing of like aesthetics and nationalism. Like that's Donald Trump to a
You're just
T.
describing fascism there, but yeah.
Yeah. Like that's Donald Trump's whole thing is like
Yeah.
he's a TV game show host who is also the leader of a nationalist movement. An irredentist movement, make America great again, return to the past. It's Mishima's whole thing. Let's return, make Japan great again. So Donald Trump is the American Mishima.
Yeah.
Like
way less elegant, but yes.
like that. The Donald Trump movie in like 50, 60, 70 years is going to be banging. Absolutely banging.
It's gonna be winning all the Oscars.
It's going to be absolutely banging. You know
who plays Donald Trump then?
Well, we don't. They're not even born yet, probably.
50 years. It's Timothy Chalamet at that stage. So I was just like, you've been around long enough.
You survived World War V.
Barry Keoghan.
Get in there.
Get Barry Keoghan to do it.
Barry Keoghan. He's if he gets to the platforms on, a little wig.
He's a little short, but we can CGI him.
Yeah, at that stage they'll have some.
At that stage they'll just have robots.
Maybe it'll just be like CGI entirely.
It'll just be an AI movie.
Yeah, like Pixar or something.
Yeah.
Could be. Who knows? The future of cinema.
The future of cinema holds many questions. Many, many questions.
It does.
It's not a real easy segue after this, so the future.
It's like a mirror.
Is it? It's like a mirror. It's like reflecting on the future, but having to look at the past.
Yes. I'd say I completely agree with you. It's all like the film Mirror.
Returning to the past, like we are currently doing now, because
the recursion.
We talked about Mirror. Okay, Andrei Tarkovsky's Mirror, 1974, 5, something like that. I discussed this movie like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we've been doing this podcast, and I talked about this movie.
Long time.
And I watched it, and I was like, I feel like that film could be one of my favorites. It's just not there right now because I don't know what the fuck it's talking about. So I rewatched it, and I was like, man, that is one of my favorite movies, and I don't know what the fuck it's talking about.
Mirror.
I think Mirror might be the most incomprehensible movie I've ever watched.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree.
Do you like when you're watching because you watched it for the first time? Did you watch it 2 years ago, or is it just me?
If I did, I don't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
So I might have like speed watched it or something like that, which is obviously completely.
There's no way
shouldn't do that. Yeah,
you should not do that with this movie.
So I don't think I did watch it. But honestly, I think it's incomprehensible in the same way a good poem is incomprehensible. You know,
like
it's like
Howl,
ooh.
or something like that.
Yeah, like Howl.
Wasteland.
So what the hell? Is
Pulling
this?
up that English degree right there. All those 3 poems that we read.
It's the most famous poems ever written. It's like the Second Coming.
Yeah, it's like
stroke my chin.
It's just like Paradise Lost, you know.
It's a lot like Milton's Paradise. It's a lot like a Divine Comedy in certain ways. It actually has references to Divine Comedy at various points.
Yes, it does. Reference to various pieces of literature.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky and shit like that.
I think it's incomprehensible because it's not a conventional narrative film. Obviously,
I would nearly go so far to say that it is not a movie.
It's a film.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't want to say it like that. Like, it's not, but even at that, like, there's no, like, saying that this film has no traditional narrative structure does not do justice to what this film is. You read and you watch all these reviews about Mirror, because afterwards I was like, I really love this movie, but I need to know, like, what do people say about this film? And everyone's just like, it's like a poem. It's like a poem. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but like that doesn't. I don't feel like that does it enough justice. I feel like watching this movie.
It's like a dream.
It's like a dream, but also reliving your past, but also like, because the sections of the movie where it's not following the main protagonist whatsoever, and it is stuff that the main protagonist could never know. You know, it's focusing on his mother before he was born, and you know, I think that like the best way to describe this movie is that it is a movie about identity and the things that make up your identity. Yeah,
like identity, dream, memory, poetry. Those are all the same things, basically. Yeah, those are all basically the same things. Like poetry is just a bad translation of a dream. You know, it's just like
and a loose translation of like one aspect of your identity at that moment. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and the whole sense of nostalgia, like it's not the same as a poem. It's totally different. Not that it's not remediation, for example. It's not we're not putting one form of media into a new form of media. It's because this is something entirely different. This is cinema with a fucking accent on the E.
There's a capital C there and an accent fucking everywhere. Every single fucking letter.
It's so it's a grammatical nightmare.
Yeah, the N even has that fucking weird squiggly one that the French do.
Yeah. It's like, it's not it's conjuring up some kind of, like, memory doesn't do justice either, but like it's just it's not nostalgia, but it's just like some kind of recall of something past. It's not necessarily linear in the sense that, like, oh, I remember this A, B, C, because obviously your memory isn't linear, and a lot of it isn't reliable either. And the same, like, even the title, you talk about mirror as in, say, your memory of your childhood mirrors how you feel at that moment. It mirrors the present, but also the present mirrors your past.
Yeah. So and also the future.
Yeah. So you're constantly shaped by what happened in the past, but your past is also in a constant conversation with what's happening in the present.
Yeah, like how you, I don't know if people have ever had that, but like you experience something, and then you hear someone else's perspective on that, and that shapes your memory of that, of your original, of the event itself. You know, like, and even like in the movie, there's stuff about like his mother. Not even gonna try and explain the plot in this movie because it's no cooking point. Like his mother, things that his mother has experienced influences who he is, even though he wasn't alive yet, because we live with the traumas and successes of our parents. And that shapes who we are, and then we move on and we experience the world, and our, you know, our nation influences that. The types of literature and religions that we go through also influences that. The people that we meet influences that. It was like the movies that we watch influence that. Like there's just like, it's like a kaleidoscope of like all the different things that make up a human being.
Yeah. It's like when, I think it's a fairly relevant example because he was a Soviet filmmaker. It's back in the 30s when you had Eisenstein and Vertov and all the boys. Yeah. Was it Vertov? I can't remember his name.
I think Vertov.
Like Eisenstein, he had his whole montage thing that he was mad about. And he enlisted the help of James Joyce very briefly to write a script for Das Kapital. So he wanted, which is just a really weird episode that never materialized, but it was a plan. It was kind of being put in motion very briefly for a time in around 1930. And the idea for the script, it was based on, or Eisenstein had kind of was inspired to ask Joyce based on his work in Ulysses, which is, I think, kind of similar to this, to Mirror, and obviously much more expansive, but it kind of peels back the layers, like lifts up the hood on what's happening in the life of a man in Dublin on a particular day in, was it 1904? And the script that he wanted to write, or they wanted Joyce to write, would be a similar kind of trip where he peels back the layers of the means of production, basically. So like there's this like whole tract that Marx wrote about you know, the origin of, say, like a linen cloth, like where does it come from, like the different all the different actors involved in that. How does it become a shirt? Yes. You know, it's very it's not interesting at all, but when you get into like the
nitty gritty,
when you
like,
pick that apart,
theory and philosophy.
Yeah, and then it's a kaleidoscope of events that basically keeps exploding outwards. Basically creating like the whole idea that Marx seemed to put forward was basically a theory of the universe. Yeah. Of how these things interact, become one, dissipate into another, all these different things. And Mirror is like, I think I would look at it in a similar kind of way, where it's peeling back the layers on how a person becomes to be. Yes. Basically. Yeah. It's like your past, all these different actors. It's not necessarily about what you remember from the past, but it's how your past shapes you. Yeah. And this story is very much focused on, it's Tarkovsky's, it's like semi-autobiographical. It's very much focused on his life, or the main character's life, the people around him when he's a kid and when he's growing up, and the events happening around him. But at the same time, it's about more than just the character. It's about all those other things as well. Yeah, like they are main characters in the film. Like World War II is a huge element of the film. His mother's obviously a huge element of the film, but they're not really shown on screen. Well, the mother obviously is. Yeah, and the mother's actor is also the same actress as the main character's wife, or estranged wife, or girlfriend, whoever the fuck she is. Yeah. Like they're the same it's played by the same person. Yeah. So it's more of it's like an abstract. Like, oh, Freud, you're going mad here. yes. It's exactly. It's like it's an abstract theory of like personality. And also media as well, I think. Oh yeah. It's more of a secondary interpretation of it, but the whole idea of the mirror, it's like our memory of the past, and the film is obviously something that takes place in the past, both literally and figuratively, and what we see is like bouncing back against us, and we're constantly in the conversation with it, as we are with our own pasts and everyone else's past and the present at the same time. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, man. Like,
But like it's a crazy film. I loved it.
yeah.
I thought it was amazing.
Because, like, yeah, like, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I feel like this is a movie I'm going to like a lot more on my second watch. And when I had that second watch, it was basically the same experience, but this time being, like, appreciating how this movie flows and the rhythm to this movie.
Yeah.
And, like, the imagery. Like, I genuinely think, and I know we say this all the time, and we probably will say this about Ran, but I think that this is the most beautiful film ever shot. Like, the scene where the and it's like, it's the scene from this movie, but the bit where there's children playing at the table or whatever like that, and the camera slowly pans around and it goes outside really slowly, and you see the barn burning. The use of light in that scene, holy shit! Like, it's just gorgeous, and it's constantly gorgeous. And as you were saying, like, about the stuff about, like, World War II, you have stuff about. Sorry, one more thing as well was the fact that this is the death dream as well, because it's revealed at one scene that the main character is dying, so it alludes to the fact that, like, what we are witnessing is his death dream. But that just makes everything more poignant, I guess, because it's like, your past is, in terms of, like, time, your past life, and, like, the moment you were born and the moment that you die all take place in the same moment. And, like, everything in between and everything before and everything after all make up, like, who you are, which is, like, thinking about the fact that, like, who you are after you die will impact who you are. Like, who you are as a person is different. Jesus Christ, Mom. Who you are as a person is influenced by things that have not happened and things that happen after your death. Like, who you are remembered to be.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who your children are make up who you are right now. Even though, like, that doesn't make any sense, it does, right?
No, yeah, because it reflects your present self and your past self reflects. It bounces back into the future.
Yes,
you're constantly traveling forward in time,
and that is reflected in the movie when the main character's child, his son in the movie, is the same actor as who the main character is as a young boy. It's the same actor. Like, this use of doubles just draws so much meaning. It's like who you were as a young boy is, like, you can imagine that your child will be like that as well in a different world.
Yeah.
Different space of time.
The cycle.
Because I think this movie is meant to take place in, present day Russia, i.e. 1970s Russia. So, you are coming towards the end of the USSR. Obviously, it's 20 years away, but, you are in the twilight years of the Soviet Union. Like, the 60s has happened. Like, Russia is a different country from what it was in the 1940s. And just like how all these factors make up who you are as a person. It's just poor madness. And you're watching this movie, and you're like, how the fuck did he do this? How did our Tarkovsky's brain work like this? Because, like, it's one of those movies that you're just like, yes, auteur cinema. Like, this is true authorship on display. That's like one of the, only a handful of directors that you can say that about.
Yeah.
But fucking Tarkovsky is one of them. My God.
Yeah, like, it's not even, like, he's not even, like, fucking galaxy braining some kind of alien concept. I think the best thing about films like this and any great art is that, like, it kind of expresses things that everybody already knows.
Yeah.
But you don't know that you know until you partake.
Until you look in the mirror.
Yes. Literally, you look in the mirror. Like everyone, like, there's different scenes that, like even just the scenes of it's his father reading poetry on voiceover.
Yeah.
Like, it's his poetry that his father reads over, like, montages of different scenery and imagery. That isn't, like, it's mad abstract, and it's not linear or anything like that, but it's very impressionistic. But it has a certain kind of vibe to it. And then, for example, it's like towards the end where I think it's himself in the house where he's brought up.
Yeah.
It's like a log cabin, and he's talking about the feeling of remembering being he has a dream about being a kid.
Yeah.
And he realizes in the dream that he's having a dream,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't want to wake up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a microcosm of the film itself. But everyone knows that feeling,
Yeah.
or like something resembling that feeling. But it's just like it's like a nice kind of melancholic kind of feeling. But it's completely universal.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
It's not some laser beam insight. It's just a really well articulated way of expressing something that everybody feels.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so powerful.
I think, and we've done this with a Tarkovsky film before, which was Solaris, when we compared it to 2001. I think 2001 is like a great film to like, kind of bounce other films off of. Not that like 2001 is like, this monolith of cinema that like, you can just, all other films must be compared to or anything like
the
that.
monolith of cinema.
Yeah. But what I mean is like 2001 is a film about what it means to, what are humans?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this movie is asking, what does it mean to be a human? Like what are we in terms of what are we made up of psychologically? Whereas 2001's like, what are we made up of? Particles and pieces and stuff like that.
And time.
And where are we going and shit like that. As what does it mean to be a human in terms of a species? Whereas this movie is like, what does it mean to be human in terms of an individual? What makes that? What makeup do you have in terms of those types of things? It's an I think Tarkovsky films are just incredibly human films, and really like reflecting on humanity and certain aspects of them. Like you think, like even like looking back at like Stalker, because I thought like at the time Stalker was Tarkovsky's masterpiece or anything like that. This movie is like
way better,
an hour 40 minutes. Fuck me, man. This movie is better. Yeah, I think this movie, I think Stalker is its own different thing, but Jesus, Mirror is just. There is literally no other film like Mirror.
Yeah,
and that's why I love it so much as well.
I prefer it definitely as well, and it's a lot shorter.
It
is. It's bizarrely short. It doesn't drag. It's the rhythm. We've gone over films, or we've covered films before, which really drag. Or try the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they really, you can feel that there's no clip to the way that they're moving between passages or sequences or of imagery. For example, Zulawski's film, what was it called? Third Part of the Night.
Yes.
Like that was a difficult.
There's a film without rhythm.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of rhythm. Like it was whatever it was trying to say. It was. I didn't know what it was trying to say basically. This film, it's whatever it's trying to say. I feel like I can get it, even though other people might see different things. It might reflect different ways to different people.
Yeah, I think with this film, it's like it's not a film that you read into and analyze. It is a film that you feel.
Yeah,
it's a film that you like empathize with, and like it pulls emotions out of you. Whereas other films that can also be more abstract and stuff like that, either you need to rely on being analytical with them, or you need to rely on being emotionally attached to them. And if it doesn't achieve either one of those things, it's just nonsense.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And that's personally, and that is like, as this film taught me, that is up to the individual. That is like, that is not, an objective thing whatsoever. I'm sure there's some people that watch the Third Part of the Night and like, it's got this rhythm that like, and I can read into all this emotion from it. Me, didn't get it. 2.5 star film.
2.5 stars.
This movie though.
This movie though.
Imagine someone like, going on like an hour long soliloquy about how much they love a movie and like, 2.5 stars.
It was alright.
It was alright. It's grand. Like that one shot.
Yeah, I love the shot where he's doing the thing.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, great. But yeah.
Mirror, what a banger of a film.
Banger.
Like very. I'm
so happy that you watched this, man.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's all completely free on YouTube. All
the Tarkovsky films are.
All of Moz films, all the Soviet films are free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is like, they're still maintained as well. That company still exists, and they still they're still constantly uploading new things from their archive, which I think is really cool and kind of cute.
Yeah.
It's maintaining. It's like an archive from like a lost civilization.
Yeah, it's films that like you're like
different world.
So there's certain films that like you know, like 2001 again. I can go see that in the cinema at one point during the year. Like that's like nearly every year, 2001 will be shown in a cinema.
Yeah.
It ain't happening with this movie, and it's not happening with like the majority of like Russian films like that. So thank God that they have ease of use to go see them.
Yeah. As they would have intended back in the day.
Truly, films for the people.
Films for the people.
Like,
Yeah.
by the people for the people. But yeah, this made me want to watch Andrei Rublev, I think it's called.
The Monk.
Yeah, because apparently that film is also just bananas, but it's 3 hours long.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually, but I'm just not there yet. Like fucking watching like a 2.5 hour Tarkovsky film nearly fucking kills me. But it's just like I love them, but goddamn they can be like certain, not this one, but like other ones can be. God, this is slow. Fucking this is slow.
It's like, yeah, I get it. It's like we're lingering on the hill.
Listen, I've reflected enough. Move on.
Come on, move on, old man.
Yeah.
We're in the 21st century now.
We truly are. And some films, they belong in the 20th century. Mark, tell me about Exorcist: The Beginning.
Owen, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah, Owen is now. I've hopped off this bandwagon. I'm not.
You just bailed. You didn't even tell me. You just bailed off the ship.
Yeah, I again did not watch our series review. So this series, man.
Man, you are lucky. This film is dog shit. I don't have a lot to say about it because it's just rubbish. It's just complete rubbish. Like, you should have watched.
I should have watched.
Exorcist 3 is a really good film.
What's the subtitle of that one? Is it just called The Exorcist?
Exorcist 3 Legion.
Legion, okay.
Legion, yeah. So like, we are Legion, you know, in the Bible. Exorcist: The Beginning is a 2004 film. It has Stellan Skarsgård. That's his name. The old one.
Yeah.
The old guy. The one he looks like Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
He also kind of sounds like him a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Stellar, whatever. Yeah, Stellar Skarsgård. Yeah, the older one.
Whatever his name is. The old guy, yeah. He's the main character in this. This film is just muck. Just pure muck. Like, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's like as if, so it's like you know Indiana Jones. You know the way the Mummy. So it's 1999. The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
The Mummy's based. It's Indiana Jones in Egypt, kind of.
Yeah.
Very
similar, like adventure movie.
Yeah.
Likable protagonist.
Yeah, this film is
hot.
yeah, this film tries to be that, but the main problem is Stellan Skarsgård is not hot, and yeah, it's like a rip-off of a rip-off. It's a rip-off of The Mummy, basically.
Jesus.
Like a complete rip-off. It takes place in Egypt for no apparent reason. Like, for no reason whatsoever.
Why not Iraq?
There
like
is,
the other films to place it.
There is a glaring, like, it's not even well made. Like, there's such an obvious goof or like gaff in the first 5 minutes of the film. So like, Stellan Skarsgård is there. He's this cool. He's Mirren, Father Mirren from like the other films, but he's younger, and it's like 1930s. Or wait, sorry, are we in Kenya? Maybe we're in Kenya. We're along the Nile anyway. We're in Africa, and he's just there. He's like drinking his whiskey, and he's clearly been through a lot of shit. It's actually after the war, because he has these whole flashbacks about. He was a priest during the war, and this Nazi officer who's like comically evil he's like, there is no God here, Mr. Mirren, and then he makes him kill like 10 random like civilians. Yeah, but he has to pick them. It's this whole thing. It's and like there's a bizarre amount of gore in the film as well, which is just weird for a Mummy ripoff. So like
also weird for a Exorcist movie that doesn't really have any gore whatsoever. It's very
strange. So the Nazi has to kills these civilians that Mirren has chosen, and he kills kids. But you see them every single civilian. You see the headshot. Like it lingers just long enough for you to see the heads get shot.
What was the 2000s like need for gore? Like just senseless gore.
But
is it 9/11? Is that what caused it?
maybe, yeah. But like this film
when did this film come out? 2004.
2004.
Jesus Christ!
But it just struck me as like it's just kind of so unnecessary to show the two headshots on kids. And then like there's this weird fetus at one point as well. But anyway,
sounds great.
He's there in the bar, and there's this weird gap the first 5 minutes. He's there at the bar drinking away. He's so troubled. He's like thinking about life, and obviously he's got some kind of character to him. He's grisly. He's like, oh, like, well, what kind of adventure is he going on next? Even though he's like a failed priest in the middle of Kenya, and this guy comes up to him and he's British, and he's like, we found a church. It's an old Christian church. It's buried here in it's from circa 5 AD. It's buried here in Kenya. And like, understandably, Mirren is like, that's just complete bullshit. Like, that literally doesn't make any sense. Like, 5 AD, Jesus was 5 years old. How is there a church dedicated to Jesus buried in Kenya from 5 AD? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And he's like, oh yeah, like, that just doesn't add up at all. And there's this whole mystery about, like, why is the church buried? How did it get down here? Why is it from 5 AD? So that's not part, like, they just fucked that up. I think there's just a continuity issue. Like, there's nothing about, why is there a church dedicated to Jesus before he even died in Africa? And it's obviously, it leads back to demons and the Exorcist.
That still doesn't make any sense, but anyway, go on.
It doesn't make
any
sense.
Even under the magical guise of, demons, that still doesn't make any fucking sense.
The whole thing is, and like, the tribes people are like the locals. They hate the British, obviously, and they kind of have this notion about what's happening. And once they, like, kind of uncover, they dig out the church to get inside it. It's like all the idols and the different statues and the crucifixes are perfectly pristine, as if the church had been buried immediately, you know? So there's no weathering or anything, which also doesn't make any sense, because if it was buried, it would have caved in. But anyway, so the crucifix, for example, is turned upside down, and there's, like, you know, one of the statues has a big dick out, and like, they're all like demons and stuff. And like, Mirren's like, there's something off here. There's something not right here.
The crucifix is upside down.
We got to get to the bottom of this. And obviously it's demons. Thing is, the church was built on top of an ancient pagan human sacrifice site.
Fucking Jesus.
Yeah. So
if there's one trope I'm glad that we don't see anymore, it's that fucking bullshit fucking trope of, it was built on an ancient such and such ground.
Yeah, the pagans
fucking
built
hell,
it.
no more, please.
Yeah, it's so stupid. So the pagans were evil, obviously, and the demons controlled the pagans, and they worship the demons. And so all Christianity is good. So I remember I was saying, like, was it the second film? I was like, this film, the second Exorcist, is like, it's not Catholic enough. This film is too Protestant, you know? It's all about, you know, it's so, like, presumptuous about, the pagans were fucking evil, Christ is good, the power of Christ compels you, in, like, a really unironic, like, just, like, I don't know, a kind of insulting way. But anyway, it's an Exorcist film, so whatever. And it's mid-2000s, made in America. It turns out that he has to battle Beelzebub, all this shit. I've run out of steam here, because this film is just muck. The thing is, it's 2 hours long. It's 2 hours long. He has to battle Beelzebub. He doesn't mention this in any of the other films. He's like, I've met this demon like 4 or 5 times before. I had a battle with him in Kenya in the 50s. And the film is 2 hours long, and like, talking about Mirror,
talking about movies with no rhythm,
talking about films with no rhythm. Mirror is an hour and a half ish, and by a director who is world famous for being extremely slow. Yeah, having like really long, deliberate panning, like thoughtful, pensive shots. This film is just like some bullshit Hollywood mid-2000s rip-off film. It's 2 hours long, and oh my god, it feels like it's 4 hours long. Like, I got an hour into it, and I was like, this is about to end, right? Because it feels like it's about to end. Yeah. It's like, this is the final fight sequence. There's an hour left. How is there an hour left? It doesn't make any sense. And then there's 3 or 4 more fight sequences before the film ends, and like, each one of them is like
fighting.
They're just fighting demons and stuff.
Jesus.
They're fighting demons. There's one where he's like, they lynch the British officer in charge, and it feels like, it's culminating to, like Mirren has to get the fuck out of it. Like, he tries to save the British guy, but he's like, fair enough. Like, the locals want to kill him because they think the demon's inside of him. Fair enough, I'll leave him to it. Now I got to get back and like kill the actual demon. But he goes off on some other side quest, and he's like, I'll get around to the demon, you know. I think it's another 25 minutes in the film. And it's like, it's full of these, like, it has jump scares, a lot of jump scares, which aren't even real jump scares. Just like go like like zoop,
Yeah.
like fast cuts and loud noises, and has like the endings, the false endings are like jump scares as well, because you're thinking, oh, thank God this film is over, and then it's just like, oh no, it isn't. It's got another half an hour, 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
It's just muck, pure muck. I'm sorry to say.
I've never seen you be so hateful about a movie
It's
before.
just shit.
This is new energy. I feel like as soon as you started, I don't have a lot to say about this movie, and then you just went on a tirade for like 7 minutes and burnt yourself out. I'm happy for you, Mark.
I feel I feel like I needed to kind of express it, because it's just
dog shit.
It's dog shit. It's just rubbish.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no other word for it.
And it's like, do you know what I hate as well? It's like, there's a certain thing about like 2000s bad movies that
They're bad.
They're like, but they're like, when you watch like, let's say, The Room or something, a famously like bad movie. There's like character to how bad the movie is, but the 2000s like big budget studio movies are like so lifeless that there's nothing to them.
That's it.
They're vapid movies.
I wanted to say the film was insultingly mid, but it's not mid by any description. It's just like the way it's made is very mid. Like, it's not like a badly made film, really, except for like the most such like a heretical.
I wish we had video for this podcast, because people need to see like your eyes just darting back and forth, just thinking with these shots.
It's just a heretical continuity error in the first 5 minutes of the film. Yeah, we found a church is buried in 5 AD. 5 AD? What? This film is about religion. It's like,
do you think, okay, so like, because right, this movie was done because Paul Schrader had made an Exorcist movie. Do you know what this movie is?
No.
Okay, so the one that you watch now, I promise you I will watch the next one. I promise you. I promise. I will also, I have like, next week I have no more assignments. I will catch up on the Exorcist movies and I will watch the next
don't
one.
watch this one. Watch the third one.
No, I need to watch this one, because this movie was made because Paul Schrader made an Exorcist movie that the studio hated. They took it away from him. They got another director in, and they basically recut and jumbled around the movie and made this movie. So then Paul Schrader's movie came out, I think literally the next year or the same year as this movie, but is also meant to be dog shit. So
I have to watch that then. Paul Schrader maybe had some ideas. I don't know who made this film, but they should be neutered, like, because it's just.
I really hope this is not the Paul Schrader one. I'd be really upset if this is the Paul Schrader one.
I would also be very upset, but he has made some dog shit films.
He has made some
dog
shit movies.
He made Cat People, which was rubbish.
Oh yeah, I remember you watched that movie.
Yeah, that film is terrible.
I'm gonna be very upset if
I will also be upset.
Sir Paul Schrader made this movie. I think he made Dominion. So Dominion came out the same year. So the beginning was made by Rennie Harlan, and then Dominion prequel to The Exorcist came out in 2005, and that was directed by Paul Schrader. And this movie came out in 2004. But they're the same cast. Like, Stellan Skarsgård is the star in both of them.
Yeah. Wait, how is this worse? How is this rated worse? Or the Paul? Oh no, sorry,
it's not. So,
yeah, man, 2.1. Like this is a 1-star film.
Yeah. So
it's insultingly bad.
Yeah.
It's dancing on the grave of Beelzebub in an obnoxious way.
Yeah, in a way that's somehow insulting. Is Beelzebub in
somehow
this movie?
heretical?
Yeah,
huh?
Somehow that's heretical. Is Beelzebub in this movie?
Oh, of course he is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, he calls him out. He's
Man,
like, Beelzebub.
Leave that demon alone, man. What did he ever do to anyone? He fucking possessed one girl one time. Jesus, let him go.
No. Apparently, the original film, it's like Mirren has this fucking decades-long beef with this one demon. So it's like retconning it doesn't matter because the film is completely discarded in the chronology now.
Was Beelzebub mentioned in the new one? I don't think it was.
No, was he not? Pretty sure it was.
Or maybe he was. Is that the demon that's possessing them, or is it just demons?
I think it's briefly. Actually, yeah, no, it's not multiple. I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember. That movie is so fucking bad.
That film was rubbish as well.
So which one's the worst one so far? Because seemingly, I like the way the horror franchises frequently have like one good movie, then there's a sequel that's pretty good, and all the rest of them are dog shit.
Yeah, I'd say the recent one was. I think they're basically the same, but like just from different time periods. Like the new one is the equivalent to the one that I just watched. It's just made 20 years later.
Yeah, it has that
like,
stank of requel.
Yeah, it has that 2020s like smell off it.
Yeah.
Whereas the one I watched with Skarsgård has the 2000s rip off. Like
Which is
no
aged
one's
worse.
no one's heart is in it. Badly cut. It's aged worse, but like I'd say they'll both, given time, they'll both end up being the same level of bad.
Yeah.
You know, in with posterity, with the history books.
When they look back in
when
the history books,
when they look back,
they realize that both these movies are equally shit.
they'll rank them alongside each other. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't watch a movie that bad. I watched well, talking about movies.
Well,
talking about movies where you look back in the history books and you think about what used to be. I think this episode is very reminiscent. Like, we're thinking about time. We're thinking about memories. We're thinking about things that used to be and how things used to, something used to be good. And Pixar used to be good. Pixar was once amazing. They made so many great movies.
Guaranteed to be good.
Guaranteed. Those first, was it like 8 movies? 9 movies?
Up till like 2010, every single film was guaranteed to be
Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Bug's Life, Toy Story 3, WALL-E, first 7 minutes of Up.
Hey, hold on a second. That's sacrilegious.
Ratatouille.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters,
Finding
Inc.
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. There's another one there. What's the other one that's there? Cars. Cars is okay. It's not great.
Wait, actually, no. Cars is shit. Sorry.
Cars is mid.
I'm a Cars hater.
Cars is just mid. Cars 2 is really bad, but Cars is kind of mid. I feel like there's another film in there. Did we say The Incredibles? We'll say it again.
Oh, yeah.
Because Incredibles is great. Incredibles is unbelievable. It's not incredible. It's unbelievable. I was actually gonna say incredible. I was like, I'm not gonna make that. At what stage did Pixar just make mid movies consistently?
Inside Out.
People like Inside Out, and I really genuinely do not know why.
I don't like it. I don't get it. I can see it as it's an alright movie. Same way Cars is like alright.
Yeah.
But like beyond that. But I also don't get the obsession with Cars, beside the fact that it's like kids like it.
Kids you just answered your fucking question.
Well, yeah, kids like Cars. But
Yeah.
like Inside Out is like, why is that a good movie? I don't understand.
Because it's about emotions.
It's about emotions.
It's about being a teenager.
Oh yeah, it's like she's blue, so it means she's sad.
Oh, she's yellow and she's happy.
Oh.
And there's an imaginary friend. Oh.
It's about the kid, and it's very sad stuff. Isn't that what Toy Story is about?
But it's also an adventure movie, which is like every single fucking Disney film, which is why the movie's mid.
Yeah.
So I watched Elemental, and this movie was so mid it made me restructure my letterbox so that now I do half stars. So I could give this film 2.5 stars. Fucking hell, man! Like, this movie made me like sad. This movie made I was watching the movie. I was like, there's an emptiness to this film. Like, I'm sitting here and there's aspects of this film that I'm actually enjoying, but the midness is just overbearing and it's upsetting me. There's not the same love and heart to this movie as there used to be in all those old Pixar movies, which is like, that's obviously like a common thing. Like, is Good Dinosaur the worst Pixar movie?
I've never seen it, I have to say.
I said it, Cars 2. Possibly it is. Like, I remember watching like Good Dinosaur, and I watched the film like more or less when it came out. I think Good Dinosaur came out the same year or like around the same time as Inside Out. And I watched Inside Out and I was like, oh, man, I didn't rate that movie. And then I heard Good Dinosaur wasn't that good, and I watched that. I was like, man, I really didn't like that movie. Holy fuck, that movie is shit. Like, what? Like, I just like Elemental is just about. Mind you, right? So there's like there is a racial allegory to this movie.
How?
Because it's different elements, and the So you got the fire
Mm.
people, you got the water people, you got the earth people, and you got the wind people.
Which one is the black people?
Well, there's no like explicitly black people, but like the fire people are like Middle Eastern people.
What? Why? Well, like, I don't like it just raises so many questions. Well, why are they assigned to fire? Why is there need to have that allegory?
But there you go, man.
Wait,
That's
wait,
the fucking problem with this
What?
movie. It's like it's not like even blatantly in your face, but like I was watching it with Melissa, and like at one stage they showed like the fire.
It's like 9/11, but in elemental. If only we could all get along. Pixar at it again.
It's like just like I don't know. It's really weird. Like it's like they introduce these concepts, but they don't like go hard enough with them or something. Like so, like it shows like so it's about like I don't even fucking care. It's about like a fucking firewoman and a waterman falling in love, and oh, like they can't be with each other because they're fire and they're water and they cancel each other out. But no, true love means that if you truly love one another, even though you're with species that you're not meant to be with, you can still coexist and it's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so racist.
That's what the movie is fucking saying.
Yeah.
And but like it ends up being like no, like races can actually coexist together. Even though in this movie, right? This is what the problem is with this movie, right? So it's not even the problem with the movie. It just like raises. Oh man, right? I'm getting flustered. The movie starts with Fire Dad and Fire Mom being the first fire people to arrive to Elemental City, whatever the fuck it's called. And
so just like that's what the writers were like as well. It's like they're pitching the movie. So the film starts. It's like they arrive in whatever the fuck Elemental City we'll call
they
it.
come off
That's brilliant.
They come off the fucking boat. I'm not even joking when I say this. They come off the boat and they walk in, and the fucking water person, whoever the fuck it is, asks them, "What's your name?" And they say their name in like their fire tongue, and the water dude doesn't know what they say, so he says, "Okay, we'll just call you Ember and Blaze," or whatever the fuck he says. Right? So immediately I'm like, okay, right. They're fresh off the boat, and they're coming to this city, and as they're walking into the city, they can see that the first people that came here were the water people, then the wind people arrived, and then the earth. And when they come in, you can see how wind, water, and earth all can mesh together perfectly, like they each complement each other. Fire burns this down, right? Fire comes in and they bump into the earth people and they burn off all their leaves. Water boils around fire. The fire is a destructive force in this environment, but so they come in and they're given no support whatsoever. You get signs that come up and say, "No fire people allowed. We won't rent to you. Go off to the shantytown stage of this elemental city, and you can set up your own ghettos essentially, and you can live in a section there, and don't worry, like, because water obviously puts out fire. No water will go into fire." And right.
They should have been apartheid state within
This is the
Elemental City.
confusing thing about the movie, right? Because water isn't. There is fire and there is fire people. There is water, but there is also water people.
Yeah.
Like, not all water in this movie is people. There is the non-living water and then the living water.
All right.
Right? Just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're not going to let water get into your city, i.e. the non-livable water.
Yeah.
Water people can come in, that's fine, but not the non-livable water.
Wait, what?
Right? So,
Oh.
right. So water stops going into the fucking city or whatever, into the section or whatever. And our main character, Ember, she has a temper because she's made of fire. So she has a temper. She's angry. She was...
Stereotypes.
Yes. Also very stereotypical because she's meant to be like a woman of color. So...
Yeah. They're always at it.
Yeah. There's always something there.
What the hell?
So anyway, she fucking has a temper tantrum essentially and causes the pipes to burst in her gaff, which water comes in comes water dude, and thus our romance blossoms from there. And there's all this stuff about the facilities not being put into the fireplace to keep them safe because they don't integrate with the rest of the world. Like literally, like she goes into the elemental city, like the main hub and stuff like that, and she has to wear like a scarf around her head.
What?
This movie's not very good,
This
Mark.
this movie's crazy.
Like this movie's
How did this get like?
this movie's fucking crazy because it doesn't like it's surface level. Like everything that they talk about is pure surface level. They don't go into it like really at all in any sort of meaningful way outside of the elements can survive to each other. Even though like the film doesn't really show that like at all outside of these two. Like
that
you can't
they can integrate. It doesn't show that.
it doesn't show that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like I think the reason why they don't do that is because
That'd be
it's-
too powerful a message.
it'd be too
That's what they're afraid of.
well no, because it'd be like I think it'd be a weirder thing to be like, oh see, you integrated into our society, so now everyone gets along.
Yeah.
I think that'd be like, you know what I mean? Like that's a weirder like message that the good thing is that you let go of some of your stuff and then you integrate it into our society.
Yeah.
I think like, you know, the multiculturalism thing is kind of weird. Even though the wind, earth and water people do that, but whatever the fuck. Like I think that's a weirder thing. But I think that, like it could have helped a little bit if you showed just fire people being in the elemental city a little bit. I think that would have helped a little bit. Like at the very least, she's not the only fucking one walking around. And there's like a bit where she steps on like a gem and it, like she changes color because the gem goes like, you know, like whatever, it goes up to her, and he's like, the water dude's like, whoa, that's insane, I never knew that about fire people. It's like, yeah, and then she jumps around all these different gems and she keeps changing color. So it's like very clear that like like the fire people who are clearly meant to be like Middle Eastern-ish, like they chose their backstory. Melissa Lynch went, oh right, they're meant to be Middle Eastern, because like it's really on the nose about that shit. And like it's just I don't know, like do something more with this. Also, Disney, stop trying this. Like you tried it with Zootopia and it was also fucking weird when you had the race thing there. Just leave the race messages alone.
It sounds so like insultingly simplistic.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
It's like fire and water. We can still get along, man. It's like, but like literally, like what would you go with? Like elements, like obviously the elements all complement each other. So I suppose that's like the thrust of
That is the thrust.
theme.
Even though at the offset it seems that fire doesn't integrate because it destroys.
Yeah.
The movie also doesn't. It doesn't show. No, sorry, it does. It does show I was gonna say it doesn't show the constructive side of fire, but like fire can, if it gets sand, fire can make beautiful glass artwork.
So they're good for cheap labor. They're not all bad.
Some of them have talents.
Yeah, some of them can make shiny things that we can buy.
Yeah, some of them make actually good art.
Yeah. They're worth keeping around.
That we can commodify.
It just it sounds so insulting to like something like so like fire and water, like to essentialize like a race allegory in that kind of way. It's just so. I feel like that's just racist in itself, you know?
Yeah, but like I think at the very least, like the film doesn't turn around and say, "Yeah, we're all the same." It doesn't do that.
I prefer that, to be honest.
No, at least at the very least, it's like it like they clearly have clear cultural distinctions between them, but they can and do coexist and make a more peaceful, prosperous world. But
they're essentially incompatible because they're two different. They
Yep.
cancel each other out.
yeah,
They can get along, but they're at their bare bones they're incompatible.
and frequently that does happen. Like there's a scene where like the water dude, quote unquote, dies because reasons. A flood comes into the fire people's place and she has to hide in a room that gets blocked off, and he's in the room with her. but the room starts to heat up because she's in the room,
Yeah.
and he starts to evaporate,
Yeah.
and he dies. And he only comes back to life because water people are really emotional,
Mm.
and she makes him cry, and it doesn't make any sense, but the crying makes him form a pool of water, even though he's meant to be dead, and he comes back to life that way.
Oh, that makes sense.
But like, you just showed me there that the two elements can't be locked in the same room as each other, else one of them kills the other one. Like, that is literally what you're after showing me there.
Yeah. That's just I can't believe that got. I haven't seen it now, but just
The
based
humor
on how
and
you're-
everything else, Jesus, man. Like,
What's it like?
the wind person's called Gale.
Gale. Okay, and
Does
does it have like jokes for adults, or is it just like kind of a kid? Like Inside Out, I didn't feel like Monsters Inc. for example. Incredibles. They're still funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I could
There's
watch
still
them
jokes,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, you can still watch them, still have fun. Mike Wazowski, great character, still funny, slapstick, still makes sense. You know, it's still laughable. But then, like for example, watching Inside Out, I didn't find any of that funny.
There's a joke where they're like on a hot air balloon, and they go past like an Earth people house. Excuse me. And they see two little trees picking apples off each other, and they're like, ooh. And when they like lock eyes, and the fire girl and the water boy are like big eyes, like, what the fuck, like as if they're like witnessing like an indecent act. And then the other two are like, oh, we're just pruning. I don't even know what that could have been an allegory for. I literally don't know what the joke is. I don't even know what the fuck, like,
They're beating each other off.
But they're plucking apples from each other and like going, ooh. It's like, I don't even know what sexual act you're trying to make a joke about, or is it just meant? I don't know. I don't know what that was a joke. Was it a joke? I don't know what that was.
That's for the people in Elemental City.
That is.
That's
yeah.
what all you people out there.
Yeah, you sick freaks. Yeah, like it's just jokes like that's the most like adult joke in the entire film, and it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's yeah.
It doesn't sound like a 2.5-star film at all.
But it is, because like the animation is really nice, and I really liked the relationship between the water boy and the fire girl. Like, that is cute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will say, in a film that's about like representation, those Earth people, poor representation. They were barely in the fucking movie.
The Earth people.
Yeah, barely in the movie. One shitty, annoying kid, and that was it.
Yeah. Cast into the dirt.
Yeah. Always the way, man.
Yeah.
Always forget about the green folk.
Always forgotten.
Green folk. Okay, will we go for a wee break?
Let's do that. And now for not a recommended film. It sounds like I was winding up for that. We're gonna talk
Pull the rug.
briefly about the Hunger. Oh, fuck's sake, Arsenal won. Last minute. Fuck's sake.
Live reaction right there.
Anyway, Hunger Games. I rewatched the Hunger Games 1, 2, and 3 there last week, and just to briefly touch on. I just wanted to mention it.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Is that
sorry,
a fourth
sorry,
one?
there's 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I consider it, I go by the books.
Fair
So
enough.
the books, there's 3 books, and I refuse to recognize the bifurcation of the last book. But yeah,
Was that the most egregious version of that?
it really wasn't, because it kind of is. It does make sense.
Does
Yeah,
it?
it genuinely actually does make sense. Like Deathly Hallows also makes sense. Hobbit, for example, that
actually
an
is the most egregious.
absolute joke.
Yeah, that
Like
is
that
actually-
was ridiculous. That was absolutely
I
ridiculous.
forget that The Hobbit exists. That is the most egregious example of that.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was it? 3 movies
3 movies.
out of a 200-page book. Anyway.
Each one like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, Jesus, The Hobbit. But the Hunger Games, yeah, there's 4 movies, and I just wanted to touch on it because it kind of gets a bad rap, a little bit.
I think it does a little bit.
It does a little bit. It gets kind of discarded in, like, at the time you had, remember, what was it? I think in Elemental, was it Divergent, Insurgent,
Maze Runner.
all that shit. Yeah, Maze Runner. It had loads of copycat movies, but it's Hunger Games. They're all copycats of Hunger Games. Both in the
Which itself is a copycat of Battle Royale.
Yeah. But within what Hunger Games is trying to be, it's kind of, it occupies its own space and still occupies that space in the kind of the cultural imagination.
Mhm.
Like Hunger Games, it's been over 10 years since the first one came out. It's still kind of like a touchstone. Like everyone's seen the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about it. Everyone knows the basic plot. The capital, the districts, all that shit. And it really holds up. It holds up like bizarrely well.
That second film is banging.
The second film is really good.
Yeah.
Like it ends like, actually, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, another example, shouldn't have been split into two parts. But anyway, but like, because the second one's kind of like the second Pirates of the Caribbean book or movie, where it ends on like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in the middle of it, and it's pretty maybe the best film, one of the best films from the series, in my opinion.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I watched Curse of the Black Pearl like recently enough, and I was like, I always remember as a kid not really liking Dead Man's Chest. I think my opinion on that movie would change now. I think because enough people have said to me Dead Man's Chest is actually the best one. I'm like, as a kid I was like, nah, World's End, and I was like, nah, World's End's the worst one. So I don't know what to believe now.
Yeah. Actually, wait, that wasn't a book being split into two parts. What am I talking about? But anyway,
I was slightly confused about that allegory, but keep going anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. What am I talking about? Anyway, but the second Pirates of the Caribbean film is kind of like the second Hunger Games film. Second Hunger Games film, though, is better. Catching Fire, it's very good. Deals with all the, like, it's such like a, it's the logical kind of continuation of like the Harry Potter generation.
Yes.
It's the logical next step. Like Harry Potter, it's unique in the way from Philosopher's Stone to Deathly Hallows, you kind of grow up with those movies, and we did as well. And it's like great. It's like there's a gradient to it that it makes sense. Like the themes ratchet up every single movie.
Yeah.
And the Hunger Games is kind of like, it's like a cultural kind of capstone on top of that.
Yeah.
Where the themes are a lot more serious.
Oh yeah, it's like straight away this is much more dark.
Yeah. It's not like, Hitler wizard versus innocent boy or whatever. It's more like it's like a political thriller for the most part. And it's like post-apocalyptic in a way that isn't completely like hackneyed like a lot of films that came out, a lot of books that came out at that time. And it's quite complex emotionally for what it is.
Yeah.
Like for what it is, it's just it's a very good series. Like the first four. I haven't seen the new one. Maybe I might go see it, or not. I might watch it.
Heard anything about that movie?
Neither have I.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a thing about it. I've seen reviews are pretty good. But I wouldn't be in a rush to go see it. It's on the Dodgy Box, so I might give it a watch. But me and Orla, we watched the Hunger Games series just because the new one was out. It was just on my mind. And I always kind of liked the movies, but I always hated the last two.
I fucking hate that second. I've never seen the last one. I fucking hate that second last one. I think it's so boring.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, where they get him back at the end, Peter. They get him back at the end.
Yeah, they get him back at the end, and there's like the whole revolutions are all happening. It's just, I remember watching this, being like, oh, this is boring, because it's too much. Strange enough, it's too much politics in this political thriller.
Yeah. That's what kind of what I mean. Like it's not as flashy as maybe you'd expect for like a Hollywood blockbuster, especially. I kind of I didn't like the third and the fourth, but I kind of respected them more watching them again, just because there is really more of a focus on themes and being consistent with the spirit of the franchise.
Yeah.
Rather than going for like it could have the book is very similar. I can't actually remember it. Mockingjay, the book, the Hunger Games Mockingjay, the book. It's very I remember being very depressed reading that book.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? There's no real there's a happy ending, but it's not really a happy ending.
Yeah.
And everything is awful. And it's just a very depressing book. I found it very depressing. The film could have easily changed that and be like, we defeated, Snow.
Hitler.
Yeah, we defeated Hitler and we created a democracy. Everything was fucking grand from then on. And obviously they do win at the end, but it doesn't go off on a big victory lap where it's like, oh, everyone had such a great time and the world was at peace once more. It's and like all through the film as well. Like it sticks to its sticks to its guns.
Mm-hmm.
It stays true to the book, stays true to the spirit of the franchise, in a way that's respectable. Maybe not as interesting as it could have been, but I still thought it was good. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I think it's a good franchise.
I think, yeah, because wouldn't have pegged the Hunger Games as something that you enjoyed, Mark.
Oh no, I like the Hunger Games. I like the books. I always found it weird how I kind of experienced the third book, because it is kind of, I thought it was very depressing to read.
I think also similarly, because we had to do Hunger Games in college. Did I read the second and third book? I don't think I did. I think I read the first one.
Yeah, because the first book is
First book's good.
it's good. It's a good YA book.
Yeah.
And then usually they bottle it after that. Like back when it first came out, like when I was like 12 or like 13, I used to go through like loads of different franchises like that, and they'd always bottle it for the second and then the third and the fourth. It'd get worse and worse and worse. It'd be the same thing again and again and again. But Hunger Games was very, very consistent, and it was very, very. It seems like it was planned out well in advance.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like vaguely realistic and not as fantasy oriented as a lot of them were at the time.
Yeah.
In a way that was depressing, but also you can appreciate a bit more maybe in hindsight.
Yeah.
So that's why I still think about it from time to time.
Whatever you said there, I think it's the fact that you said like it's a good YA book, and whatever way that you described that, you just unlocked a memory of books that I read. That I think I read two of them. I think one of them was called The Fear, and the other one was called The Dead, or something like that.
Wait, is this Charlie Hickson, or is this about zombies, zombie apocalypse?
Yeah!
Yeah, I read them as well.
No way, bro!
Yeah, I read them.
No way!
I read them, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here!
I read all of them,
Yeah, no, I think I already read two of them. And I was like, I forgot about those books. Holy shit. Yeah, they were... I remember them being pretty good. They were fucking gory.
They were so gory. I remember... But like, yeah, they changed character, like a main character
Every book was based on a different set of kids, and all of them got fucked up at the end of it every single time.
I remember one of them made me cry because it was really emotional.
Yeah,
scene.
man. Those kids sacrificed for each other.
And they're all like 10, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, what? This is so fucked up. There's one scene where like there's like the smaller kid gets like bitten or he gets infected. I can't remember the details of the plot or the story. But the main character basically brings him back to his childhood home and leaves him to die in his childhood room.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so fucking. I was like 12 or something like that. I was like, this is so sad. But I thought I really enjoyed those books until maybe I think the fifth or sixth, and I was like, this is too boring. I just gave up, or maybe I got too old.
Charlie Hickson, there it is.
Charlie Hickson, yeah, he's a good writer.
Oh my god, I have not thought about this book.
I remember the feeling of that book.
Holy shit, my god. How many books was there? The Enemy, that was the other one.
The Enemy, yeah.
The Dead. I think I read The Enemy and The Dead. I don't think The Sacrifice. I never read that one. The Hunt. Okay, get out of here, bro. You did too many. Oh, you only did 5. Okay, that's not too many.
I think I ended on The Sacrifice. I didn't finish it.
Oh, Jesus.
Because they got longer and longer. That was another trend with books back then.
Yeah, keep it short. Like, keep it simple. Man, if I was getting those books, I actually, somehow part of me is like, what are those books again? I don't want this cover. I want the cover that I had.
Yeah, I have them. I still have them.
Oh, man, that's mad. Jesus Christ. What's your favorite YA series?
That was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I also had a big interest in young James Bond and young Sherlock Holmes. Well, young James Bond was actually done by Charlie Hickson as well. It was bizarrely good.
Yeah.
I didn't like James Bond, but I liked young James Bond. Young Sherlock Holmes I also liked. There was another one that was also set in a zombie apocalypse. It was called...
Is it Gone and all those ones?
No, I
never read those.
I never read them. I think it was more of a girl book, so I never picked it up.
Yeah. Even though I don't think they were... The covers didn't look like girl books. For some reason, all the girls read them. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But there's another one that I can't remember the name. It was by an Australian author, but I thought it was very good. I read like 3 of them. That was one of my favorites. I used to like the
Cherub, or what the fuck was called?
Cherub. Yeah, I thought Cherub was mad. I thought it was very vulgar.
Yeah,
remember
it's like
they tits in the first book.
Yeah.
People like underline it in school. Remember that?
Schoolwear library, or
Yeah.
like it's definitely schoolwear library.
Sex,
Tits underlined just so you knew them.
yeah, man, look at this. Get a load of this.
Those books, I remember reading them and I was like, reading them at the age of 12, 13. I'd be like, oh, these are so bold, but also be like, I think at the time, even I was like, this is a bit too edgy. There's something.
Yeah. I remember we actually did it in first year in art school, and we did the first chair book, and I think most people already read it. But I just thought it was I didn't enjoy reading it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just too it's a bit cringe. Even at that age, I thought it was a bit cringe.
Yeah, just a bit too crude and trying to
be cool.
Trying to reach an audience too much.
Just trying too hard.
Yeah, just try hard. How do we get a bunch of teenage boys, to read these books? We'll just start the right tits and have them sex even though they're like 14. That's how we do it.
Isn't there's like a scene where they're groping each other as well?
Probably right.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. What about I can only think of the one Stormbreaker. I can't remember the fucking name of the
Alex Rider.
Yeah, the Alex Rider books.
I like them. Yeah. I read all them as well.
I read Archangel. I think was the only one that I read, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked Artemis Fowl. I really liked Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, I read like half or one of those books. I wasn't much of a reader when I was a kid. I actually only really got into reading when I was in college.
Yeah.
And like late secondary school. I'm trying to think of other ones. Skullduggery Pleasant.
I really liked Skullduggery. Yeah. Did you read that?
Yeah, I read the first 3 or 4.
Yeah, same. And then I fell off.
Yeah, then I was like, these books are too big.
They're getting to like 1,000. I was like, fuck that.
Even in terms of like width and also height, the books were so tall for some reason as well. Yeah. Then what else was there? What are good fucking? There was Cherub. There was obviously Goosebumps.
I loved Goosebumps.
Obviously, Goosebumps.
I devoured Goosebumps when I was a kid.
Yeah,
loved them.
There's some other ones that are locked in my brain.
I used to like Maximum Ride. Did you ever read them?
No, never.
It's about kids with wings. They're like angels.
Oh, it's rock on, dude! Kids with wings.
It was by James Patterson, the other guy who does all the detective books. He wrote them. They're like the chapters were literally like they'd be 2 pages long.
Oh, it's nothing better.
So it was so digestible. It was like
nothing better.
I'd read them every single time we went away.
Yeah.
Like it was literally like an airport book. I'd read it on the plane and like I'd have it done within 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
That's just very satisfying.
Yeah, nothing better. What about oh my god, His Dark Materials. Did you ever read His Dark Materials?
I read the first one. I couldn't get into it though.
I kind of want to, because Neil fucking read them for college.
He read the whole thing, didn't he?
Because we would have to do the first book if he read them all, because he was just so into them. I kind of want to read those ones. I think, like, I'm currently, I remember I was saying to you, I'm back reading.
Yeah.
It's gone again.
I'm the same. I picked something up and I'm like, wow, like 60, 70 pages in a day. Like, I'm back.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's over.
Yeah, no, it's over.
Next day, it's like, nah, it's over.
Yeah, it's over. You're now busy with college or work. Good luck trying to get that reading in.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe my few weeks off, I will maybe read, but also watch lots of movies.
Yeah.
Play lots of video games and, drink and stuff like that, so... But yeah. I believe it is time for the main event. Ran, 1985, Akira Kurosawa. The greatest Shakespeare film. With Ran, legendary director Akira Kurosawa reimagines Shakespeare's King Lear as a singular historical epic set in 16th century Japan. Majestic in scope, the film is Kurosawa's late-life masterpiece, a profound examination of the folly of war and the crumbling of one family under the weight of betrayal, greed, and the insatiable thirst for blood. Insatiable?
Insatiable, yeah.
Yeah, Ran.
What a beautiful movie.
Yeah, man.
Visuals.
Mirror, get fucked. The most beautiful. No.
Forget about Mirror.
This movie fucking invented color, man. Holy fuck. This movie is colorful.
Yeah, I want to know where it was shot. Because for ages I thought it was like Mongolia or something. I thought it was about the Mongols.
Yeah.
Because it's just like open plains and steppes.
Huge mountains.
Yeah, it's like every frame is a painting. Not to
drop that YouTube channel.
Not to drop that YouTube channel, but every frame is sculpted like a painting. Like it looks so. It looks so controlled, but it's at the same time there's a lot of life to everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So, it's insanely well made. Well, obviously well made.
Shockingly, a Kurosawa film was well made.
Yeah, well shot. Like it's like a cake. It's like watching it. It's just like you just kind of sit back. You feel like you're there as well. I have a shit TV. It's like 30 inch. It's like maybe like pretty less, 24, 27 inches. It goes when you turn it on. But I was sitting there today working, and I was just there. I was last night as well, because it's hard to find this film.
Yeah, it is.
So I bought it on YouTube. Bought it last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sticking it on. I was watching it. I was laying back, and for a while I wasn't there. I was in wherever the fuck this film is set.
Japan, yeah.
Japan, Mongolia, or something. And then even today as well, it was watching the end of it, because it's a bit of a long film.
Yeah, it's 2 hours 40 minutes.
Yeah. But like you feel the scale, you feel the
epicness.
Yeah, it's a real epic. Even the fact that it obviously it's basically an adaptation of King Lear, with like Japanese historical characters fitted in. So it's like this kind of timeless, transcendent nature to the story. It's in Japanese. It's a Japanese French production, so it has this weird like animation at the start. I didn't know what this film was going to be like.
Yeah,
it's just like doo 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 doo.
Yeah. The animation at the start is wild. What the fuck is this?
It's like, what? This is like a proper. It pulled the rug from underneath me here. But the whole thing is in Japanese, and has the YouTube thing had subtitles, thankfully. But I feel like I didn't really need. It's one of those films where like you didn't necessarily need to have the subtitles.
Yeah, because like especially because we did we had King Lear on our leaving cert.
Yes, we did. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
back in Al's class.
So like for the first like fucking 20 minutes of this movie, I was like, what was the plot to King Lear again?
Same. I was like, wait, who's who? I just remember Gloucester getting his eyes plucked out.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in this movie.
Well, you don't show it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, come on, show it, show the fucking.
Yeah, show the eyes and the cliffs at Dover.
Yeah, because like when I was at this movie, and then at the start it's like, oh yeah, the 3 kids, and I was like, what's gonna happen here? I was like, the youngest one is gonna betray the dad. Is that what the story is? And I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense, because there's like 2 hours left in this movie, so that can't be what the story is. Couldn't remember. And then as soon as he got to the first gaff, and his men start acting around, he's like, yes, I remember now how this plays out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe from our perspective, because I could write a fucking essay. I could write a fucking essay on King Lear. Let me tell you that.
We've written several.
I've did it for college as well. I didn't have to read it again because I remembered every fucking detail about that fucking play.
I completely forgot that one of the characters is called Goneril. What kind of name is that?
Is that what the girl?
Yeah,
the evil woman.
Yeah, the evil sister. Goneril.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I can't remember side characters. I just remember the overall plot at this stage. Especially after watching Ran, because segments in Ran are now blurring into my brain. I'm like, I don't remember a massive samurai fight in King Lear.
Yeah, I'll skip that chapter.
But yeah, it just makes sense to do, for Kurosawa's most, epic, and also probably one of cinema's greatest epics, to be a Shakespearean adaptation. I also didn't realize that Kurosawa was like a bunch of Shakespeare adaptations.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, like Throne of Blood, I think is Hamlet. Either that or it's Othello. I think he's got like 4 movies that are Shakespearean adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
And then his other movies are just movies that were adapted into westerns. Which I think is funny. I think it's interesting that, like, because you got Yojimbo, you have the fucking middle one, and then you have Seven Samurai, which are movies that were just adapted, arguably plagiarized, into being spaghetti western films.
Yeah.
Whereas, so that's Western cinema taking influence loose term, into Japanese cinema.
A mirroring effect,
yeah. Oh, jeez, Mark.
Tarkovsky knew.
Everything is a circle. And then you have Kurosawa taking influence from, Western shit. But,
Shakespeare.
not taking influence by the movies of the 80s, and wasn't making fucking Terminator. He was like, Shakespeare, I'll take that. I just think it's interesting, like the dialogue, of some sort. Sorry, dialogue.
Yeah. The conversation, it expands. It's beyond time and space.
Yeah, the West influencing the East, the East influencing the West.
Bouncing back, it's constant conversation.
It's a mad tennis game.
Yeah, is it happening now? I don't see it.
I don't know. Probably somewhere.
Maybe.
But yeah, like this movie, one of the reasons why I wanted to watch this movie was because I saw a TikTok that was just a fucking... I love that I say I saw a TikTok. I saw a snippet on TikTok of a documentary from this film. So it wasn't really a TikTok.
Several layers of remediation.
Isn't it? Like, that's just layers into it. I saw a TikTok that was just a snippet from a documentary about this movie where... I didn't
actually watch the movie, but I seen this.
I saw it on TikTok. I watched the whole film on TikTok. I get a lot of Dragon's Den on TikTok now.
I like Dragon's Den.
Yeah, man, it's such a dark hole though. It just keeps happening
funny.
to me, and like I saw one clip, and it's always part 1 of 4, and I always end up watching all fucking 4 parts. But when Kurosawa was making this movie, obviously you watch the movie. You watch this movie, and you're like, color. Mad. Like, there's just so much color. Mad blues, mad greens, mad reds, mad yellows. And like you get these insane battle scenes where all these like men charging in blue armor are clashing amongst the red armor. It just looks insane. But there was a scene that was lost where Kurosawa wanted to have a shot take place, or a whole like scene and soliloquy to take place at night in a wheat field. Problem is light. Like, how the fuck are you gonna get the light to work? So they spray painted like a ridiculous amount of wheat gold, so that when they had the light set up, the light would like bounce off the wheat perfectly, and you'd have this like beautiful gold fields and these characters against the stark black night. The film got that footage got destroyed. They lost it. They
were going to keep it in, but they lost it.
Yeah, they lost it. It wasn't deleted. They lost it.
Man,
it got destroyed.
What a waste of wheat.
I know.
What a waste.
It took them like 48 hours to fucking do this field of wheat as well, and they just lost it.
That's such a shame.
So when I heard that, I was like, shit, what the fuck else is in that movie?
Yeah.
And like you're watching this movie, and like obviously, whatever the narrative, the narrative, it's Shakespeare. Like, it's it's the story about greed taking over families and destroying families, and this whole family getting destroyed because of greed. But just like the epic scale of this film, like there's so many people running in this film, charging at each other for these insane battle scenes.
Yeah.
Like that siege at the castle and the fight at the end, it's fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, it's mad intense. It does justice, because you don't really see that scale even today.
It's CGI these days, that's why.
It's all CGI, and then you can tell like there's such a shallow depth of field. It's like it's not the same thing. Like, you can always tell when like a scene is, or has, even like with Lord of the Rings, you can tell there's like there's an element of reality to it. There's just the way it's framed or something like that. Like, for example, like the scene in Endgame where they're all charging toward each other. That whole scene is dog shit.
That film, that scene feels fake.
It's rubbish.
I know the emotion.
Muck.
I know that the emotion is there for fans of the film, but like,
technically speaking,
when you
it's
watch it,
muck.
I think that if you watch that scene and you're not a fan of the film, you don't get that sense. Whereas if you watch a scene from Lord of the Rings or Ran, or any, sorry, hear me out. If you watch Ran or Lord of the Rings or Saving Private Ryan or something like that, I'm trying to think of like other epics, you get the sense of scale. You get the sense of being there. But like with that Infinity War, I don't think it's there.
Yeah, you don't really get it as much these days, which is a shame considering that was kind of the early cinema was full of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of, like, this is an opportunity that we can use with this new form of media is
You
to
look like Gone to the Wind and stuff like that.
yeah, is to expand the scale of our operations, or even like Napoleon, for example, which
Yeah.
we covered a long time ago, or even Stanley Kubrick tried to remake it, and the whole idea was, or the Waterloo, where half the fucking Polish army was involved.
Yeah.
I've never seen that film, but like that's scale, you know.
There's that Chinese film as well.
Yeah, what is it? Battle at Lake something or other. The recent one,
Yeah, the one that's like,
Shangjin or something.
yeah, it's like the most film. It's the most people ever shot on film in one scene or something like
It
that.
looks rubbish, but
It looks dog shit. But like, fair folks, you got a lot of people.
fair folks, like that is like that's scale, that's ambition, and I think it ties. In this case, it really ties into the like King Lear. Obviously, it's a timeless tale. The reason why Shakespeare's so popular is because it's all universal themes, universal stories that apply basically across all space and time.
Transcends time and also geography.
Yeah.
As this film portrays.
It's accessible from all corners of the globe, and obviously if you're making a film adaptation, it has to adapt to the media that's going to be executed in. Usually it does. Sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes they just don't bother doing that. But like in this case, it's like it's Kurosawa is using the scope, leveraging the scope or the ability to expand the scope that you get with cinema, to reflect the scope of the themes of kind of like the message behind King Lear, like the universalism, like this great wide sky, like like just like montage of the clouds just like billowing in the distance, like the contrast, like the huge set pieces, the armies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not something that you get by reading the play or even seeing the play, but it's only something that you can get by watching a movie.
Yeah.
And this is the only example that I've seen of like a Shakespeare play being done in that way.
Yeah, same.
So, which is I love scale. I love
Same.
I love big things.
I love big epic scales. I love you
Yeah.
know, impressive set pieces.
Yeah, you don't get as much as you
Full
should.
of it. I also think as well that like you were saying about the universality of Shakespeare and stuff like that. And then like how malleable that is, because this film is definitely like, this film is 1980s Japan, talking about like feudal Japan, talking about the greed of that time, talking about the military and the imperialism and all that type of stuff. And it's like, you know, it's kind of impossible to think about Kurosawa reflecting on Japan's history of that from, you know, the 40s and stuff like that. In a, you know, in the 80s where it's a little bit more acceptable to do that. It's just, you know, it's very malleable material, and it's also because it's so universal. I also think it's funny that we were talking about like plagiarism and stuff like that, and then Shakespeare maybe not write all of his shit.
That's what they say.
Yeah, so
That's what some people say.
yeah, just Ran. Like Ran is regarded as like one of the greatest movies ever made. One thing. What did you think about the makeup on the main dude?
I thought it was cool. Why?
I think it looks cool, but he looks so different to everyone else. He really stands out.
Yeah, I suppose he does, but like, is that not kind of the theatrical element of it? No?
It definitely is like the drama and like the theater of it.
Yeah. Like even like the Fool doesn't have, or whatever the character's name is in
It's
this.
the Fool.
The
Like,
Fool, yeah, the Fool doesn't have mad makeup, but it's a very different character to everybody else. But it's reflective of, you know, their role and the text itself. I think. I think like he's King Lear. It's about him, basically. Whatever his name is, Hiderota.
because there's him and then there's Hitter something else as well.
There's some
his
other
son,
guy as well.
I think his name's
Jiro.
His Jiro, and then his son's called Jiro or something there.
Yeah.
Which is just like
It's
not
just-
confusing at all. Not confusing whatsoever.
These mad Japanese names. But yeah, I thought it was cool, you know. But it's kind of, the whole thing is very, what's the word? It's kind of fabulous.
Yeah.
You know, it's stretching the limits of, the medium,
Yeah.
and like, not just in terms of color and scale and stuff like that, but it's also just it's there's a theatrical element to it. It's a huge blown up play, put to celluloid basically, and yeah, I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, he is. It's definitely like it's It's not a realistic play at all. But he does look completely different to every other character.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Mad L movie. I have to say, Mad L movie.
That's it.
One I quite enjoyed.
That's cinema.
I'm thinking, right. So we're in December now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have a little look up the little calendar here, because we are due very soon to do our recommended films of the year. Next episode? The one after. We do next episode or we do the one after?
Next episode will be released 26th, is it?
No, this episode gets released on the 11th, and then recording the 19th, and then Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day release.
That's fucking dumb. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're taking the day off for that.
Yeah, we're taking a week off. That is pointless. There's no talking about our metrics are already fucking bad. Jesus Christ.
We could do it for next episode and then release on like the.
God damn! If we release, is that a Christmas or New Year's Day? Fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's a tough spot.
We might release this on a Tuesday, Stevens' Day. You can listen to this on your Stevens' Day walk or something.
Yeah.
We could
do Stephen's Day after one of them. Wait, do you want to do it next week?
I think
for
next episode we are doing our recommended films of the year.
Okay. Let's do it.
Now,
with wild cards. We need wild cards.
Our wild cards, right.
We haven't done enough.
Yeah. Do you want to submit your wild card now?
Now?
Or do you want to leave it for the episode?
We'll leave it for the episode.
Yeah,
I need to go through.
Yeah.
I need to fine comb.
Yeah. See what now, just so you know, Exorcist movies do count. So if you want, you can put forward, Exorcist Dominion, whatever fucking film you watched today.
We should do worse as well.
Oh yeah, I think we should do.
Well, I suppose it'll sort itself out.
It will. I think we can recommend 3. No, we can do 2 movies from each. 2 recommendations each. Not each franchise that we did. That's fucking dumb. We'll do Rocky. We've done Alien vs. Predator this year, and we've now done Exorcist. I feel like we might be missing one, but also I know that Alien vs. Predator went on.
I don't think we are missing one. Yeah.
Fucking ages. Fucking hell. I think we were talking about Alien vs. Predator movies for about 6 months this year.
Yeah, I think we've only done 3. Because that did go on for nearly 6 months. And then Rocky as well was, 6, 7?
6 movies.
6 movies, yeah.
12 weeks.
12
4
weeks.
months.
Yeah. So
our master's not right there. There's no fucking way we did Alien vs. Predator. Fuck me, maybe we did. Maybe we did Alien vs. Predator and then we jumped straight into Rocky.
yeah, because we took a while where we weren't doing any series.
Okay, so we did a little bit fact checking there. The Alien movies are ineligible for a suggestion. I'm sorry, Mark, you cannot put forward Prometheus.
No.
I'm low-key glad about that because I don't have that.
No, we have to reopen that wound.
That argument of you trying to push it to number 1. But the Predator movies are, because we watched Predator 1 in January, so those movies count, and also the Alien vs. Predator movies count. I'm also annoyed because I can't put forward the greatest movie ever made, Alien 3.
Oh, yeah. And Alien 4 also very good.
Alien 4 also great. But we can do Predator movies, we can do Alien vs. Predator movies, we can do Rocky, and we can do Exorcist movies. I think they're the only franchises that we did. Star Wars, we did it at the start of the year, but that doesn't count because that was just me, and I did the trilogies in each episode, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, no. Star Wars, I wouldn't count that now.
No, fuck no. I also wouldn't put them forward. I think that'd be lame.
Yeah, that'd be too lame. That's it. There's a line on this podcast. We just do the recommended and then a few wild cards plus the series. That should be more than enough.
More than enough.
Material.
Right, Mark. What is our final recommended film for 2023?
That's a tall order. It's a big ask. It's hard to cap off this amazing year with an amazing movie. But our recommended film for the next episode is Brazil by Terry Gilliam, or Gilliam as they call him, which is a film from like the 90s or something like that.
Vaguely based on Christmas.
It's kind of based on Christmas, and I've never seen it before. I think you've seen it.
Seen it years ago.
Okay, well we'll give it another go, see what happens, and we'll add some other stuff. We'll add some festive features to the list as well. So we'll have a packed schedule because we're both have some time off from assignments and stuff over the next 2 weeks. So
Yep. Be less busy and make it more fun.
Absolutely.
And watch some fucking dog shit Christmas movies.
Yeah, we'll be watching them so you don't have to. Don't worry.
Don't worry. We'll do it. We'll bite this bullet for you.
We'll see which one's good, which one's not.
Don't worry,
we'll
everyone. We'll watch Love Actually.
We got you. We already did, but
You don't have to watch it. You don't have to watch that bad movie. We'll watch it for you.
we'll watch it for you. Don't worry.
Good night. God bless.
Bye.